You ready? Let's go. On the 6th day of Christmas, my techies gave to me 6 databases, 5 passing deals. 4 service calls, 3 git commits, 2 unit tests, and a story and some pairing. Hi there. Today we're going to be talking about databases. Definitely a technical concept to know and love, at least to have a general idea of. So before we can talk about databases, let's talk about data. So data is basically all of the facts that we care about associated with a particular object or concept in our system. So a classic example could be the person or the user in your system. You might want to store their full name, their age, and maybe their email address. So we have these 3 fields, these 3 facts about a person. Now all of this is information. Simply put, that is what data is. It's the information that we want to know about a given concept. Data can also be things like PDF files, videos, MP3 clips, etc. So don't limit yourself to thinking it's just attributes of a thing. It can be actual files. But anyway, all this data we collected about the different things, entities, and objects and concepts in our system. Now, the way that we structure this data or organize it so that we can easily assess it in our application is to put it in a database. So simply put, the data that you want to use in your application, you store it in some kind of manner in a service, an entity, a container, whatever word you want to use there, called a database. Now there are multiple types of databases that you can use, relational and non-relational. So most common are relational databases. You might hear them called SQL databases. Now in the relational model, it's exactly what you would expect. Data is structured in a way that they have relations in between them. So take the example I was giving you about the person. In a SQL database, you would store the person in its own table. So for each person I have in my system, I will have a row in my table just for them. Think of an Excel spreadsheet, guys. So user 1 is named Joy. Her age, 24, and then her email address. Then I might have another user, Billy. Billy might be 32, and he has his email address. And each of these are different rows in my database table for persons. So say I'm building a blog site. Now I might have a whole collection full of just blogs. So for each row, it represents a single blog. So I might have a name of the blog, like the title, the author, the content, the date it was published, the genre, etc. Now, remember I said that it might have an author? Well, that's where the relationship comes in. So instead of me putting a whole author in there, like it was written by Joye Nettles, her age is 24, her email address is this, I will just have an ID that references this table over here with all of my authors and all my users. Get where I'm going with this? So you organize your data in such a way that things are isolated, and if they need to be connected, they can just reference that other thing. It's kind of like footnotes. So you have all this stuff in your writing, and then you have a little footnote because you don't want to plug in that whole paragraph about what this means. You just reference the footnote. That's kind of how you can think about it. So that's relational databases. You also have, well, we're seeing more and more the rise of non-relational databases or NoSQL databases. I am actually using a NoSQL database at work. There are a variety of flavors, like you don't just store your data in tables. I think they include like a graph store, a key value store, a document stores, and there's one other that slipped my mind. But in these different ways, you're able to be a little bit more fluid with your definition of the object in all of its fields. I'm not gonna go into all of them, but we are using a document store at work. But I think the main takeaway for you to know about NoSQL is that it's in a semi-structured format. So it can be, instead of like a row representation where each column has its own value, you have like a JSON or an XML representation that says, all right, in this form, this is how I create this object. But basically, I've learned a lot about NoSQL databases, and I'm still learning there. But I hope that you all learned today about what the gist is behind databases, why they're important, and how you can use them to structure your next application. Basically, the main takeaways that I want you all to get is that a database is where we store our data in a structured way, whether it be like super structured, like a relational database, or a little lax, like a NoSQL database. There are a lot, trust me, a lot more things to think about when it comes to databases, but this is just an intro, okay? Check out the resources below in the YouTube description to learn more. And stay tuned. We got 6 more days, and we got some good stuff coming on this second half. So yeah, Joye out.